All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975 of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. September 6th and 12th, 2019, the notice was faxed, mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, Sentinel. On September 6th and 12th, 2019, the notice was delivered to the office of the South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On September 6th and 12th, 2019, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Roll call.
Mr. Bezak?
Here.
Mrs. Beck?
Here.
Mr. Budson?
Here.
Mrs. Bush?
Mrs. Bush has been excused.
Mrs. Lell?
Here.
Mr. Nielsen?
Here.
Mr. Rosanno?
Here.
Mr. Ashatar?
Here.
Mr. Urbanek?
Here.
Ms. Cassiano?
Here.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to have the formal installation of the new board members by the Board Secretary, Mr. Ken Kokoska. Oh.
Oh, what a cutie. Can use the mic.
Testing? Is it on?
Yeah.
Let's see, the camera's over there, so why don't we just look at it that way? Thank you. Okay, just repeat after me. I state your name.
I, John Budson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people,
and authority of the people.
so help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, John Budson,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office
for the office
of member
of member
of Board of Education,
of the Board of Education,
and that I am not
and I am not
disqualified
disqualified
as a voter pursuant
voter pursuant
RS
RS
19 4-1,
1
nor disqualified
nor
due
disqualified
to conviction of a crime
or conviction of a crime
or offense
or offense
listed in New Jersey Statute
listed in New Jersey Statute
18A
18A
12-1,
12-1,
and I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
justly perform
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
according to the best of my ability.
best of my
So
ability.
help me
So help me God.
God. Congratulations again. You have a help here?
I have no, well, I have somebody's gonna take some pictures, but they're camera shy themselves.
Okay.
I mean,
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, David Rashta,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and this state
and this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name.
I, David Rashta,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications
that I possess the qualifications
prescribed by law
prescribed by law
for the office of member,
for the office of member
Board of Education,
Board of Education,
and I am not disqualified
and I am not disqualified
as a voter pursuant
as a voter pursuant
RS
RS
19
19
4-1,
4-1,
nor disqualified
nor disqualified
due to conviction of a crime
with a conviction of a crime
or offense listed
or offense listed
in New Jersey Statute
in New Jersey Statute
That's 18A 12-1,
18A 12-1,
that I will faithfully,
and I will faithfully,
impartially,
and impartially,
justly perform all the duties
justly perform all the duties
of that office
of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Thank you, Ken. At this time, I'd like to ask our new board members if they'd like to have any comments. Mr. Budzen?
Just to say I'm happy to be back, and I hope I can contribute to this board, and that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Rashatar?
Well, I'm honored to be chosen by all of you people, fine people, and I'm looking forward to working together with you.
Thank you. Welcome. I'm sure all the other board members welcome you as well. Moving on to the business of the meeting, we have our board secretary. Oh, okay. Thank you. So under the minutes, board members, we have some minutes to approve. December 17th, 2018, regular public meeting revised. June 17th, 2019, regular public meeting revised. July 25th, 2019, regular public meeting revised. August 12th, 2019, special meeting. And August 22nd, 2019, regular public meeting. Board members?
Move the minutes.
Motion
Second.
by Mr. Rosano, second by Ms. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You doing use of facilities?
Uh,
Thank you.
We have 7 items on the agenda for tonight. The New Jersey Association of Federal Program Administration, Passion for Youth, high school class of 2022, high school project graduation, elementary school PTA, and the South River Knights Pop Warner.
Board members, your pleasure on use of facilities?
Use of facilities in accordance with board policies.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen,
Second.
second by Mr. Basak. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, motion so carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the reception of visitors.
Financial report?
Missed the
Oh,
last
I
financial
did.
for bottom.
Thank you. Is the financial report, Ms. Lowe?
Yes. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the
Okay.
reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer of School Monies for July 2019 be approved, and I so move.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Lowe, second by Ms. Beck. Board members have any questions? Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now at this time, we will open the meeting to the reception of visitors, and the public at this time may address items on the agenda only. There will be another public session at the end of the meeting where the public can again address the board member on any issue that they wish so. So at this time, is there anyone at the public that wishes to address the board on agenda items? On first call, second call, third call? I'm gonna move to close the public portion. At this time then, we're going to move on to the superintendent of schools, the monthly report. Ms. Zercher.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanik. The first item on my report this month is our graduation rate. We recently received our school year 18-19 graduation rate. I'm really happy to report that we increased our graduation rate from an 85.9 to a 91.5. The state average in 2018 was 90.9, which means that now we have exceeded that state average for the 2018 school year. So that significant raise from 85.9 to 91.5, we attribute to certain factors. Definitely our alternative high school program. This is a program that some of our students take full advantage of. It's for students who have a difficult time with attendance for whatever their personal reason might be. Students who need to make up credits again, giving them a second opportunity for loss of credit recovery. And students who might just have a need for some additional services and support. So with that program, last year was our first year initiating that program. We had, by the end of the year, 8 students enrolled. 3 of those students graduated. Students enrolled in that program are all different grade levels, but every student that we had that was eligible by age for graduation did graduate from that program. So we definitely know that helped. We also started a new procedure for students that are looking to drop out of school, where we ask them first to come in and meet with us, meet with our support staff, and have a conference to see if there's some sort of way that we can support them in whatever it is that they need that's causing them to think that they have to drop out of school. If there are any services, any support, any other way that we can provide the opportunity for them to finish school, we're doing so. As a result of that, we cut our dropout rate in half last school year, so we know that that's working for kids as well. Also contributed to our graduation rate going up. And then we also have taken a really good look. We've actually already done this for this school year. We take a look at our kids who are at risk, and we provide them with a specialized path towards graduation. So we take a look at what it is that's putting them at risk, and we try to address those needs specifically targeted to those students. So each student's plan looks different. Right now, like I said, we've already identified our students that we need to work with for the school year for 1920, and we're just giving them the support they need to see them to graduation. So we believe all of that has definitely contributed to the large increase in our graduation rate, and we'll continue to put those things and any other things that we know our students need in place. Our Chromebooks at the high school have been distributed. We've distributed now to all of our students. I've been walking around, they are using them. Victoria, can you speak to your Chromebook? And
Oh yeah, of course. I can add to that.
Hold on, it's right here.
I have
you have one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got
Mike.
it.
Good.
The students are definitely enjoying the Chromebooks. They're very useful. I've heard a lot of students saying that with sports and everything, it makes it a lot easier to multitask while, like, if you're on the bus to an away game, you can do some essay, type of paragraph or two in classes. Also, you don't have to wait for another computer card because every student has their own. So they've definitely been very useful.
Great, good. So far, so good on that. Our Chromebook devices were distributed to students with a disclosure. We do have access to be able to monitor what they do on those Chromebooks, and we have told them that. They also have a warranty on them because we know things happen, and some things have already happened in the first 3 weeks of school. So they do come with a warranty, and we're able to turn them around and make sure that kids are not without their Chromebook for any long length of time. So far so good. And the distribution of those Chromebooks at the high school have also significantly increased the amount of technology that we've been able to provide for the other buildings. So the middle school now is very close to having a Chromebook cart in all of their core classes. We have a few classes that still need their own Chromebook cart, and we have a plan for that. So really, they're almost one-to-one as well, just with, again, a little bit of maneuvering for a few classes. And our middle schoolers are not taking their Chromebooks home. We believe that we want to use middle school to show students how to properly take care of their device so that by the time they get to high school, they can take them home responsibly. Back to school nights. All 4 of our back to school nights have already taken place, and we experienced very high attendance actually at all 4 back to school nights. The elementary school probably had the most attendance. They did an ice cream social right before back to school night, and ice cream seems to draw a ton of people. So it was very well attended. We had kids at our back to school night, which actually was great. They're the best ones to tell you parents what's happening in their classroom every day. So very well attended. We were very pleased with that. And a big thank you to SREA, who actually were the ones who sponsored that ice cream social through some grant funding. So very appreciative of that. Parent Access and ConnectEd, we've been sending tons and tons of messages to make sure that our community members are connected to our messaging systems. Connect Ed is what sends you a text message, an email, or when you get that phone call, if we have a school event, such as a delayed opening due to weather, or maybe a reminder that we have something big coming up, you'll get that through our Connect Ed system. So definitely make sure you're on that. And Parent Access is what gives you access to your child's grades, attendance, as well as any sort of discipline that's been documented. So we're definitely encouraging our parents to get connected with both of those. And if you haven't, please contact your child's school for some support. But we really do have very high percentage numbers. We can track it. We can see if you're connected. So we have very high percentages for both Connect Ed and Parent Access. So we know that people are getting our messages, which is great. And our Facebook page is growing in numbers. I think now we're up to 1,100 followers. But sometimes some of our posts just get shared and reshared and have reached thousands of people. I think our largest one to date was about 18,000 views on a post that we have had. So that's pretty big for a district like ours, for sure. And then the other exciting news on the agenda today, the board will be approving the hire of a family advocate. And the family advocate position is title funded, that's grant funded. But the purpose of this is to meet one of our goals, which is to really minimize the barriers for some of our families in communicating with our district and getting the services and support that they need for our district. So we have found a person who has multiple languages, who is in the community, is a community member, already has many relationships with people in the community, and can really serve to be that advocate for families who maybe just need some sort of service, support, or just need maybe a question answered or a need addressed by the district and just don't really know how to connect or who to connect with. So we're very happy to bring that position aboard, and we're hopeful that that will alleviate some of the concerns that some of our families have expressed. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zurcher. Do any board
Yep.
members have any questions on the superintendent's report or any comments?
I have one comment. The back-to-school nights were very, very well attended. The ice cream social, we were looking at going, my God, there's all these people. In all the years my kids have been at school, they were the biggest ones this year. Just wanted to add on to that.
Great, thank you. Board members, your pleasure on the superintendent's monthly report.
Move the superintendent's report.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosano, second by Mr. Nielsen. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, this evening we have a resolution for a board member who had to resign. Great loss, and at this time I am going to turn this over to Mr. Kevin Nielsen, who requested to read this.
So you remember to take that off.
Oh,
Do you remember?
bring everyone up, Ed.
We on, Brian?
Yeah.
I love how you thought you had a duck underneath that camera.
Resolution, whereas Edward Andre served as a member of the South River Board of Education from January 2015 through August 2019. And whereas Edward Andre served his community effectively and diligently by discharging any and all tasks assigned to him efficiently and maintained a high degree of interest in the educational welfare of the children. And whereas Edward Andre was instrumental in maintaining his responsibility to the Board of Education and played prominent roles as a chairperson of the Safety and Risk Management Committee and Policy and Legislation Committee, vice chairperson of the Buildings and Grounds Committee and Athletics Extracurricular Committee, and member of the Buildings and Grounds Committee, Finance Committee, and Policy and Legislation Committee. And whereas the Board of Education at its public meeting of September 26, 2019, regrets the loss of this member and wishes him continued good health and success in the future, and wishes to make this resolution a matter of public record. And now therefore be it resolved that this resolution be adopted and spread upon the minutes of this meeting, that a copy of this resolution be presented to Edward Andre, Kenneth J. Kukuska, Board Secretary, Cynthia Urbanik, President. Congratulations.
want to thank the entire board for this. I'm extremely honored to have this, and I want to say that it was a pleasure and an honor to be with you guys as my 2 terms. I learned a lot. It was nice to be here with you guys as a family. I considered it as a family, the board. And I want to thank the community for believing in me, for giving me 2 terms, and so on. I wish everybody the best. And thank you.
Oh, and you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nielsen, would you like to make that as a motion?
Motion.
Second.
So moved.
Second by Mr. Rosano. Roll call? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, our second resolution is for another board member who did resign. Unfortunately, he was not able to attend. However, I would like to read this into the minutes of the meeting. And this resolution reads, whereas Regis Wailuda served as a member of the South River Board of Education from February 1971 through December 1983 and May 1990 through August 2019. And whereas Regis Wailuda served his community effectively and diligently by discharging any and all tasks assigned to him efficiently and maintained a high degree of interest in the educational welfare of the children throughout his decades of service. And whereas Regis Wailuda was instrumental in maintaining his responsibility to the Board of Education and played prominent roles as the chairperson, vice chairperson, and member of each and every committee, board vice president, and board president. And whereas the Board of Education at its public meeting of September 26, 2019, regrets the loss of this member and wishes him continued good health and success in the future, and wishes to make this resolution a matter of public record. And now therefore be it resolved that this resolution be adopted and spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and that a copy of this resolution be presented to Regis Wailuda. Signed, Ken Kokoska, Board Secretary, Cynthia Urbanik, President, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Ms. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any comments, board members, on those 2 resolutions for either?
Yeah, it was a pleasure working with you, Ed. Keep in touch just because you're out of town doesn't mean keep around. And I can't say enough about Reggie. His guidance to all of us and everything that he has done to this community, he was a wealth of knowledge. Any time of the day or night I had a question, he was there. Thanks for being there, Reg, for all you've done. That's all I have to say.
I don't think there's anything else more to say then.
No.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
agree.
Nielsen. Okay, then at this time, we will move on to the consent resolution.
The South River Board of Education, by means of a consent resolution, adopt various resolutions of a routine and non-controversial nature at one time. Whereas the below listed resolutions are hereby adopted by said Board of Education in whole, as if the same were individually acted upon. Under President of the Board, item 4. Under Finance, items 1 through 21. Under Instructions, items 1 through 6. Under Negotiations, item 1. Under Human Resources, items 1 through 34. And Safety and Risk Management, items 1 through 6.
Is there a motion for that?
Moved it. Rosano.
Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mr. Rosano. Any board members have any comments or questions for any items under the consent resolution? Roll call?
Mr. Bazak?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Budson?
Yes.
Mrs. Lowe?
Yes.
Mr. Nielsen?
Yes.
Mr. Rosano?
Yes.
Mr. Rashatar?
Yes.
Mrs. Urbanik?
Yes. So carried. We're going to now move on to the committee reports given by our individual board members. First, athletics and extracurricular. Mr. Budson.
Well, there's nothing on the agenda tonight, but the football team is away tomorrow night. And so far, the girls' soccer team is undefeated, so that's all I have.
That is good news. Buildings and grounds, Ms. Beck?
We all got with the report, and just note that Steve and his staff moved a lot of rooms around this summer. you know, between staff openings, teacher requests, and everything else, got it done. Pretty much worked around the clock, but got it done. That's it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Finance, Ms. Lowe?
Under finance, there were 3 additions since Monday's meetings, so I'd just like to make sure that we cover approved contract Ishmael Abash Sharif Junior DJ Services Provider, middle school 2019-20 school year, approved contract French and Furlow Associates Engineering Services, various district locations, and number 21, approved contract Master of Me Academy LLC Professional Development and Curriculum Service Provider for the 2019-20 school year.
Thank you. Any board members have any questions or comments? Thank you. Under instruction, Vice President Rosanna.
Thank you, Madam President. There's one additional since the other night, and that is number 6, approved textbooks, the title of which is, the title of which is Introduction to Business. This is for the high school, 9th through 12th grade. And if I may, Madam President, just for the edification of those here and those watching, the way adoptions of textbook and curricula work is that the, in this case, a textbook, when it's time for textbook revision or renewal, or whatever we're going to do, new textbook or get the old textbook, new edition. Easy for me to say. But anyway, the teachers of that subject get together and they research textbooks. They narrow it down to 3, and they get copies of those 3, hard copies of those 3, sent to the school for them to review personally. Excuse me, it's an allergy, I'm not contagious. So after they have made their choice, and they have a checklist, and they have a quite an extensive
Review form?
thank you, review form for these books. They come up and they make sure everything's right and what's what they need and what would be best for their students. Then the books and the recommendation goes to Dr. Trivisano, who's our Director of Curriculum and Instruction. He looks them over, makes sure everything's okay, they meet the state standards and so on. Then he sends them to me, and I look them over and I give them to Mrs. Beck, no, not Mrs. Beck, Mrs. Bush. Mrs. Bush looks them over, and she sends them over to Mrs. Lell. So all 3 of us on the committee review these books. And if there are any problems or questions, we just ask Dr. Trivisano, what about this, what about that? Fortunately, there were no problems or questions. The textbook that the teachers recommended is fine with us, fine with Dr. Trivisano, and that's what we have approved this evening. So that book is starting now. It's already here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So I want to thank the staff and Dr. Trivisano for their work on this, and just to keep everything right and the best for our kids. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. I think that really is helpful, and it gives the public a lot of insight as to how some of these textbooks end up in our school and the board's role that we play in that.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Under negotiations, Mr. Parton?
We have no additions since Monday. We do have a sidebar agreement that you approved tonight to incorporate the behaviorist into the SREA bargaining unit.
Thank you. Policy and legislation. Mrs. Bush is not here. Mr. Budzen, could you take that, please?
There's nothing on the agenda this month.
Okay, thank you. Human Resources, Mr. Nielsen.
We have 5 additional items tonight. One is going to be approved resignation, Ayada Oldakowski, school psychologist. 31, approved resignation, Melissa Kazi, middle school girls basketball coach, 2019-2020 school year. 32, approve appoint Louis Chapp, high school English as a second language leave replacement teacher for the 2019-20 school year. 33, approve appoint videographers, 2019-20 school year. 34, approve appoint Irina Da Silva, family advocate, 2019-20 school year.
Just want to mention for number 33, our videographers are 3 of our students. Andrew is with us today as our videographer, and we also
Hi,
approved
Andrew.
2 students as well. So together they will be the ones who will be videotaping our meetings, and they're doing a great job already. Andrew put our agenda on the large screen, which is a nice addition. So we're very happy to have our own students helping us out in that regard.
That's wonderful. That is. Okay, thank you very much. Under Safety and Risk Management, Mr. Basak.
Thank you, Mrs. Urbanic. There are no new items on the agenda since Monday night.
Okay, thank you. Under School Community Relations, Mr. Rashatar.
There are no new items.
Thank you. And for the School Board Borough Council Liaison Committee, Mr. Nielsen.
We've scheduled a meeting for, I believe it's October 18th with Mr. Eppinger, following our nightly meeting. So we'll have something hopefully in October.
Great, thank you very much.
It's the, if I may, it's the
Yeah.
17th.
17th.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, PTA Liaison, Mrs. Beck.
Sure, just a update. We had the high school had a meeting on Tuesday night. They were talking about, they've got their teacher appreciation breakfast on October 8th, and then homecoming is on October 12th. I think we've all gotten invitations to go to it. Unfortunately, I won't be there this year, but everybody else have fun with homecoming parade. Yeah, gotta work. And then primary schools, PTA meeting was last night. They're very organized this year, very well attended. I'm actually kind of impressed. There were 14 parents down, besides Mr. Kidney, myself, and a teacher. So they've got fundraisers going already. They're doing I did bring it with me. They have one of those discount cards.
Oh, nice.
It's
Yeah.
called Route18community.com. And there's over 400 different vendors in the area between Route 9 and 18. Everything from Chili's to Big Ed's Barbecue, Bury the Hatchet, all of these places in between. So you get 10%, 20% off. It's $20 for it, and it's good until the end of next year. No, go to the website and see all 400 names.
Find another pair to put those on.
Look at that.
No, you put these on.
Those are just a
I
sampling
don't
of
think,
them.
I don't think it'd be big enough for
No.
that.
So you can go to their
We need to
Facebook
put
page
on
to find out more
this one.
information about that
Yeah.
and how to get them. They're selling them like crazy. Elementary schools,
Oh, that's great.
their first meeting after back to school night was everybody's first meeting, but their next meeting will be on October 3rd at 6 p.m. in the library. Middle school's meeting will be October 30th at 6:30 in their library, and the high school's next meeting will be on November 12th. And so concludes my report.
I have a question, if I may.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Madam President. Cheryl, if I'm not on Facebook, how can I get one of those cards? Who do I contact?
Well, one, you can actually go to the website here.
What website?
The discounts page, which is Route18community.com.
Is 18 numerical or spelled out?
The numbers. And it'll actually pop up as Route9community.com. It's a dual website.
Good.
And then they also, there's this, I think it's srptas.org. There is a website for all of the PTAs.
Good. I'm sure that, many members of the community are not on Facebook too. Not a whole
No,
lot.
and you're right, not all of them are.
But they need to be
Right.
able to access this.
Yes.
Thank you.
That and probably just, if I gave the wrong website, I would call the school and ask them for it.
Okay, good.
Great.
Thank you.
If I may too, I
Sure.
received a report from the PTA meeting from the primary school last night. I know one of the items that came up is our new procedure for arrival at the primary school. So the new procedure requires teachers to come outside and meet the students during arrival outside, and the students line up in front of their teacher. And then they go inside with their teacher to the classroom. Before that, what was happening was students were going into the building, and the teachers were waiting inside their classrooms, and the students were sitting outside the classrooms in the hallway. So we could have more than 100 kids sitting outside in the hallway with maybe 2 or 3 teachers on duty, and we just didn't feel that was enough supervision. So what we kept hearing from parents last year was that they wanted to see something that was that looked more like the arrival at the elementary school, where staff comes out, kids line up, and they bring them in. And so we tried to mirror some of that, but the primary school law presents its own challenges to us, and so we have been working through those challenges. But I do want to put out there that number one, we're monitoring that very closely. We are looking to see what we can do to make improvements to that area, and that we really feel that supervision is completely uninterrupted now for kids. The major challenge we have is that parents want to stand with their children as they wait, and so we have this, this crowd of adults and kids together. So what we're trying to do is, the way the elementary is set up, there's a fence, and our parents are behind that fence. There is no fence area at the primary school. So what we're trying to do is sort of mimic that and give the parents a waiting area so that the kids have the space they need to be lined up with their teacher. But the change was made, again, because of feedback we received last year, and also because we felt that the supervision between the number of teachers who were on duty and the number of kids who were sitting outside in the hallway just wasn't sufficient, especially for the age of the children at the primary school. So
That
that's
makes
where
sense.
it's coming from. It's not perfect yet, but we're getting to some solutions.
Thank you. I just have one question with regard to that card. Did you happen to mention the cost of it?
$20.
$20, thank you.
And like I said, it's good through December of 2020.
2020,
So
20
you-
for 20.
20 for 2020, yeah.
Okay.
But
All right.
and it's anywhere from 10%, 20% off depending on the location. Even Moe's, I mean, McDonald's, it's a lot. You have to remember the card though.
Yeah.
I forgot it the other night. I got home in one minute.
Doesn't work then.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
South River Public Library Liaison, Mr. Budzen.
On Tuesday, we hired Rita Post as a full-time children, young adult librarian. Over the summer, they ran 46 summer programs with 812 attendees at their programs. And they came to all our back-to-school nights. So,
We
yeah.
have a table.
Yes.
That's good. Thank you very much. The South River Foundation for Educational Excellence Liaison, Mr. Rashidon.
The foundation did not meet in September, meet again on November 15th, I believe. In the August meeting, this discussion was held about some of the fundraisers. Apple in my eye happened, I guess, last week. I can't report now until it's success of it, how much money was raised, but apparently people were very enthusiastic about it. There's discussion of re-upping the Harlem Wizards, but that remains to be seen whether that's a big effort, whether that's gonna happen or not. But I'll have.
Superintendent will get to play again.
Oh, did you?
Yay.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. I mean, I know people had a lot of fun with it, but it was a lot of work. So.
Was it?
But I'll have more to report in the October meeting.
Thank you. Our attorney's report?
We covered everything in executive session on Monday.
Thank you very much.
Nothing else.
And our student board representative, Ms. Cassiano.
Thank you, but I have nothing to add for tonight.
Okay. And is there any old or new business to come before the board?
Madam President, if I may, you
Mr.
know I'm a
Vice
big
President.
cheerleader for this district.
Yes, you are.
And I still hear, and I don't know why, but I
Uh-oh.
still hear that the school system here isn't so good. I hear it from members of the community, who, by the way, don't necessarily have kids in the school, but that's okay. But that started, I don't know how many years ago, and it still goes on. Even though, as Superintendent Zurcher reported, our graduation rate has gone up an amazing amount from, as if I may repeat, 85.9% to 91.5%, and it's above the state average. The State Department of Education has announced that we are, quote, a high-performing district, unquote. That doesn't mean it's a bad school system. It means it's a good school system. If you think I'm being sarcastic, you're right, I am. But you know, you have to stop this. You have to stop this. It's a bad school district, because it isn't. Our kids can't get into good schools. How about from our graduating class this past June, we have a student going to Princeton, another one going to Fordham, several going to Penn State. And other students who are going to Rutgers and even Middlesex can qualify for these schools, but they don't have the money to go. So just because they're going to a school that isn't, quote, prestigious, although I think they're all good schools, doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them or with the school district. it means it's fine, it's working well. And I just wonder, I mean, what do people want? Tell me what's wrong, call me up. I was gonna say I'm in the book, but we don't have a book in there. I'm on the web, okay? Call me up, let's chat, tell me what you think is wrong, I'll bring it to the rest of the board. But I don't understand why people are saying that, but don't tell anybody I said it, come on, everybody out there, give me a call, let's chat, okay? Thank you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Rosanno. I have to thank you also. Not only are you a product of this school system, you went away to get educated with your degree, and then you came back here to teach. There is no greater testimony to our school district than that.
Thank
And then
you.
you come up here, you become a board member, and you sing the praises of this school district, and you support them with facts and figures. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're more than welcome, and thank you for mentioning that.
Okay, any other old or new business to come before the board? Seeing none, we will now have a motion for the payment of bills. Ms. Lowe.
The Finance Committee recommends that all bills presented, having been certified by the School Business Administrator Board Secretary, be paid as listed, and I so move.
Motion by
Second.
Ms. Lowe, second by Mr. Nielsen. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will now open the meeting up to the reception of visitors. The public may address any concern or comments that they have for the board. When you come to the microphone, please state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the board?
Miguel Raval, 22 Virginia Street. So the pledge to stand up for the other states, quote, while interacting with members of my own faith or ethnic or gender community or with others, if I hear hateful comments from anyone about members of any other community, I pledge to stand up for the other and speak up to challenge bigotry in any form. This pledge was made on December 19, 2016 at the State House in Trenton by all New Jersey State Senators. In 2018 and 2019, the Green Team made this pledge as well. And in 2018, the Borough Council made this pledge. In the interest of solidarity, I would like to ask the board if they would commit to this pledge as well.
I think it's for discussion. I thank you for bringing it
under
to our
advisement.
attention. We'll take it under advisement, discuss it as a board, and we'll get back to you, but thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Do you have a full copy of that
I can send the link to
pledge
yeah,
to our superintendent?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel.
Okay, any other members that wish to come? Sir?
I'm going to read from some notes. I have 9 other copies if I could pass them out.
Your name and address, please, sir?
Sorry, John Rosano, 3 Birchwood Place.
So, Madam President, since Mr. Rosanno is my cousin, I'm going to recuse myself from this discussion.
That's fine.
Okay. Mr.
Does he
Barton?
need to leave the dais?
No, this is
Okay.
public comment,
This
so
is
it's,
public
it's
comment.
really
No,
just,
you're
you're just
okay, you're not
receiving
It's
comment.
okay? All right,
You're
I'm
just
not gonna
receiving.
comment then.
You're
Okay.
not conflicted.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have more copies if you guys would like them now or after. Up to you.
We'll take them after. We'll
Yeah.
take them right after you finish. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the board for providing this forum. I'm John Rosano, this is my wife Tricia, and we are here tonight to accomplish 2 things. Number 1, to share an unfortunate situation we experienced with the Director of Special Education during ESY this past summer. And 2, to request a new policy be put in place to avoid circumstances like this in the future. Some background, we have a 6-year-old son who goes to the primary school in 1st grade. He qualifies for special education with the diagnosis of autism.
met annually with the child study team in February to review the IEP for the upcoming year. And until the following events that we're going to get into unfolded in the fourth week of extended school year, the fourth and final week, we were under the impression that the IEP was being followed and services were being provided. Some more background. So our son was, the IEP stated that he would receive occupational therapy once a week for 20 minutes for the 4 weeks of ESY. I think during drop-off one morning, a fellow mom talked to Tricia and said, has Hudson received OT this ESY? Because when I asked my son said, no, I did not, I have not been receiving occupational therapy this summer. So after hearing this, Tricia text or message Hudson's teacher to see if this was true, and she did confirm this. She said that a occupational therapist wasn't even hired for ESY, even though it was in his IEP. The next step, later that day, we emailed Mr. Dorso to ask him about this, to see if it was true. He did not respond by email. The next morning at drop-off, he approached Tricia in person. She said, please respond to us by email. We want to document everything. He persisted anyway. What he told her was he was not aware that an OT had not been hired. And so she questioned that, you were the director of special ed, how could you not know an OT is not here for the summer, and that you're in the building every day? That kind of person would report to you normally. So he went on to say, so that is, I guess his assistant, Miss Kim, I don't know how to say her last name.
Urusha.
Urusha. He said Miss Kim Urusha does the hiring for ESY. So later that day, with a phone call with Miss Urusha, she explained to Tricia that in fact contradicted Mr. Dorso and said, no, Mr. Dorso does all the hiring. And it's worth noting that Miss Urusha was hired after the start of ESY, so how could she do the hiring anyway? And this kind of hits home at the theme of this speech, is that we've lost all trust with Mr. Dorso. We're very disappointed. I think later that day and the next day there were some email exchanges with Mr. Dorso. We explained what we had heard from Miss Kim, contradicting his story. He did end up apologizing for what he called confusion, and that, and then to our surprise, an occupational therapist was hired in the next 2 hours. And then the district recommended, so there's 4 days left of school, they wanted to cram 80 minutes of OT in the last 4 days for our son. So we rejected that, as inappropriate. And actually we sought legal counsel. We took a meeting to see what our options were based on the events that happened. So what we learned, and we're still learning the law ourselves, I think if the district doesn't provide services, they just have to make up these services at some point. And that, so at that time so that's how we understood it. We decided not to go further with any mediation or arbitration. Right? So we're still a bit confused and disappointed. If we didn't hear from that mom, I think the whole month of ESY would have went by and we would have never known he never received OT, that his IEP today to ask the board to, we want to implement a new policy that would inform parents in writing immediately if a therapist, a teacher, a program, anything in an IEP is not going to be met or fulfilled. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Rosanna. Ms. Archer, did you have any reply or?
I need to look into this situation. So I know that you said that you had written,
Got 10 copies here. I can
and then I
email it.
feel like, did you send an email today to? No, okay. There's a lot of Rosannas, Mr. Rosanna.
There are a lot of us, yes.
Yes, there are a lot of Rosannas.
We are all over the
You were
place.
one.
All right. Okay, yes, we'll definitely take whatever you have there for us. Thank you so much. I can certainly look into
Thanks,
it.
John.
You are right that under parental rights, you are due compensatory services for the time that your child did not receive services for whatever reason. So I will look into this, and I can get back to you personally.
Okay, thanks.
Okay? Do you prefer that I get back to you in writing, or do you prefer that I get back to you with a call?
Writing is always good, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I can certainly do that. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Yes, thank you very much. Anyone else in the public wish to come before the board? Seeing none at this time, we'll move to close the public portion, and we will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Nielsen.
Beck?
Motion by Mr. Nielsen, second by Mrs. Beck. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Miguel?
Motion carries.
Miguel? Okay, brother?
I was gonna vote no, but it's too late.
Chris, can I show the board the Chromebooks at this
Does
time?
this
I
pledge
don't
have a
have
name?
to do that during the meeting, do we?
I can send you
to the pledge.
It's okay, I just want to know.
Right?
We're not taking any action.
We're not taking any action.
Let me get the, make sure I get it.
Because I think Brian wants to give them,
Demo?
get them all on, give them the